Thank you, Father Olvey. The pledge today is by Nolan Radney and Cassandra Hamilton from Rocky Mountain Classical Academy in Colorado Springs, Colorado, and their guests of Representative Williams. House will come to order.
Will you please join us in saying the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Representatives aren't.
Okay, so you're just going to...
Excused.
Becker J. Becker K. Representative K. Becker.
Majority Leader is excused.
Beckman. Beckman.
Excused.
Benavides. Bridges. Bridges.
Excused.
Buck. Buckner. Carver. Catlin. Coleman. Covarrubias. Danielson.
Danielson's running late. Okay, excused.
Escar. Everett.
Hey.
Representative K. Becker is present. Everett excused. Exum. Foot. Representative Everett is present. Foot. Garnett. Janal. Representative Danielson is present. Gray. Hamner. Hanson. Herod. Hooten. Humphrey. Jackson. Kennedy. Kennedy. Representative Beckman is present.
Is excused. I know he's in the building.
Kraft Tharp. Landgraf. Lawrence. Lee. Leonard. Lewis. Liston. Lontine. Lundeen. McKean. McLaughlin. Melton. Michelson Janae. Neville. Representative Kennedy is present.
Excused.
Pabon. Pedersen. Rankin. Ransom. Ryer. Roberts. Rosenthal. Sane.
Excused.
Representative Arnn is present. Salazar. Sandridge. Sias. Singer. Representative Sane is present. Thurlow. Valdez. Van Winkle. Weissman. Willett. Williams. Wilson. Winter. Representative Bridges is present. Winter.
Excused.
West. Young. Madam Speaker.
Here.
So it's just Neville and Winter.
With 62 present, 2 excused, and 1 vacancy, we do have a quorum. Representative Harrod.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move that the reading of the Journal of Monday, March 12, 2018 be dispensed with and approved as corrected by the Chief Clerk.
All right, members, you have heard the motion. All of those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed signify by saying no.
I didn't
That
even think
motion
that
passes. Announcements and introductions.
I thought it was going to fly in.
Any announcements and introductions? Representative
Looking at my tribute, Madam Speaker.
Valdez.
Oh, I thought it was ready.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I just wanted to invite everybody for Thursday morning at 7:30 to the Health Caucus meeting down in room 109. That's for everyone if you want to come and join us for the Health Caucus meeting. Last meeting we talked about the opioids with Colorado Health Institute, and this next meeting will be with the Colorado Hospital Association. Thank you.
Further announcements or introductions? Any further announcements or introductions? Representative Jadal.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And I just wanted to let you all know that Thursday, March 15th, from 12 to noon, 12 to noon, 12 to 1 in room 107 will be the Animal Welfare Caucus, the Claw Caucus. It will be about wildlife. I'll have more information as the days get closer. Thank you.
All right, further announcements and introductions. Representative Lawrence.
Thank you, Madam Speaker and members. I just want to make sure that this is on your calendar for tomorrow at noon, from noon to 1 p.m. It's the Victims' Rights Caucus, and our meeting is being held in room 109 here in the basement. And we are going to be talking about, I believe it's on elder abuse tomorrow. So hopefully you guys can all put that on your calendar. Tomorrow, Wednesday, the 14th, from 12 to 1.
All right, and members, we do have a tribute in just a little bit. Are there any further announcements or introductions? Representative Landgraf. Good morning.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and good morning. Members, especially the women, this Friday is Women in Office proclamation on the first floor at 8 a.m. I hope you can be there because you're going to be introduced, and I'd hate to introduce somebody that's not present. We'd have to call you absent. Thank you.
All right, further announcements or introductions? Any further announcements or introductions? Going once, going twice. Seeing no further announcements or introductions, we have a tribute this morning. Members, can we please have your attention? Representative Young.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I have a tribute for the National Dog the Arson Dog Program. I ask that the tribute be read at length.
The House of Representatives convened in the 71st General Assembly hereby extends sincere commendations to State Farm Arson Dogs on their 25th anniversary. We are proud to recognize State Farm and their Arson Dog Program on the occasion of their 25th anniversary. This also marks the 20th year the Arson Dog Program has been active in the state of Colorado. Each year, hundreds of lives are lost and billions of dollars in property damage are caused by arson-related incidents. The Arson Dog Program plays a critical role in helping fight these crimes through significantly increasing the ability of law enforcement to correctly identify and solve arson-related investigations. The members of the Colorado House of Representatives are proud to recognize and extend our sincerest appreciation towards State Farm's Arson Dog teams for their exceptional work and service to those in need. On request of Representative Dave Young, given this 13th day of March 2018, State Capitol in Denver.
Representative Young.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. You know, in 2010, the U.S. fire departments responded to nearly 261,000 fires that were started intentionally. These fires caused almost 400 deaths and $1.2 billion in direct property damage. Since 1993, State Farm has funded the Arson Dog Program, resulting in more than 380 arson dog teams in 45 states. Since 1998, 8 arson dog teams have been placed in Colorado. And we welcome the 2 current teams to the Capitol today, and we have actually one team in the back, I think here. It's Agent Jerry Means. He's the Colorado Bureau of Investigation agent, Jerry Means, and K9 Riley. And then we also have over in the Senate, Longmont Fire Department fire investigator Mike Manzo and K9 arson dog Holly. So an arson scene may take a human investigator days or months to investigate. An arson dog can investigate a scene in minutes. So I'm going to defer over to Representative Foote to finish this off here.
Representative Foote.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. It's so good to see my good friends Jerry Means and Mike Manzo here, and we have to call this in court the Accelerant Detection Canine program. Unfortunately, it's a mouthful to say, but it's the same thing. They do very, very good work helping the private sector, of course, insurance, but also the public sector in helping solve these arson crimes that we see, unfortunately, around the state. They do great work. They're always there. They're always on call. You may not know this, of course, but they can be called out to a fire at any point in time, no matter what their plans are. They're always there to help right at the beginning, make sure that these issues get solved. So thank you very much to Agent Means and Mike Manzo and others from this unit.
Representative Young.
So there's another Colorado connection to the Arson Dog Program, and is the National Fire Dog Monument in Washington, D.C. When Jerry Means and retired K9 Sadie won the Hero Dog Award in 2011, it sparked a discussion about recognizing the contribution of arson dogs and their handlers. The National Fire Dog Monument was created by Colorado firefighter and sculptor Austin Weichel. Austin is a firefighter with the Windsor Severance Fire Department. It's up in my neck of the woods, and Representative Bucks and Representative Humphrey. He is also one of the youngest sculptors to have a monument placed in the nation's capital. So, members, please join me in recognizing and thanking all arson dog teams for the work they do, and particularly Agent Means and Riley here today.
Thank you so much for your service on behalf of the entire General Assembly. All right, any further announcements and introductions before we go to third reading of bills? Seeing no further announcements or introductions, we will proceed to third reading of bills. Mr. Randall, please read the title of House Bill 1154.
House Bill 1154, by Representative Susan Van Winkle, Senator John, concerning consumer protections relating to solicitation to provide a copy of a public record for a fee.
Majority Leader Becker.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move for the passage of House Bill 1154 on third reading and final passage.
The question before us is the passage of House Bill 1154 on third reading and final passage. Seeing no discussion, Mr. Randall, please open the machine, and members, please proceed to vote. Representative Beckman, Representative Rankin, Representative Rosenthal, and Representative Zayas, please vote. Please close the machine. With 49 yes votes, 15 no votes, 1 vacancy, House Bill 1154 is passed. Co-sponsors. Please close the machine. Mr. Randall, please read the title of House Bill 1242.
House Bill 1242 by Representatives Becker, Kane, Valdez, Senator Crowder, concerning the salary categorization of locally elected officers in specified counties.
Madam Majority Leader Becker.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move for the passage of House Bill 1242 on third reading and final passage.
Question before us is the passage of House Bill 1242 on third reading and final passage. Mr. Randall, please open the machine, and members, please proceed to vote. Please close the machine. With 49 yes votes, 15 no votes, 1 vacancy, House Bill 1242 is passed. Co-sponsors. Please close the machine. Mr. Randall, please read the title of House Bill 1240.
House Bill 1240 by Representatives Bridges and Becker J. House Senator Cook concerning the continuation of grant program to prevent motor vehicle theft and in connection with implementing the sunset review recommendations of the Department of Regulatory Agencies.
Madam Majority Leader Becker.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move for the passage of House Bill 1240 on third reading and final passage.
Question before us is the passage of House Bill 1240 on third reading and final passage. Mr. Randall, please open the machine, and members, please proceed to vote. Please close the machine. With 53 yes votes, 11 no votes, and 1 vacancy, House Bill 1240 is passed. Co-sponsors. Oh, Representative Beck.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I ask that my name be removed.
Okay, Representative Beck's name will be removed as a co-sponsor. And the machine is still open for our co-sponsors if you would like to co-sponsor this bill. Please close the machine. Mr. Randall, please read the title of Senate Bill 28.
Senate Bill 28 by Senator Scott, House Representative Bridges, concerning the repeal of certain requirements for where a license plate is mounted on a motor vehicle.
Madam Majority Leader Becker.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move for the passage of Senate Bill 28 on third reading and final passage.
Question before us is the passage of Senate Bill 28 on third reading and final passage. Assistant Minority Leader West, good morning.
Good morning, Madam Speaker. I had heard that there was a rumor of an amendment that would require that license plates be mounted just to the right of center. That turned out to not be the case. Nevertheless, I will be a yes vote.
Representative Bridges.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. If someone would like to offer a third reading amendment along those lines, it would be considered a friendly amendment.
Oh, goodness, that wouldn't be approved. The question before us is the passage of Senate Bill 20 on third reading and final passage. Mr. Randall, please open the machine, and members, please proceed to vote. Representative Benavides. Please close the machine. Whoa. With 64 yes votes, 0 no votes, and 1 vacancy, Senate Bill 28 is passed. Co-sponsors. Please close the machine. All right, that takes us to general orders, second reading of bills. Representative Gray. All right, members, you have heard the motion. Seeing no objection, Representative Gray will take the chair.
The committee will come to order. With your unanimous consent, the bills will be read by title unless there is a request for a reading of bill at length. Committee amendments will not be read unless requested, as they are printed and in your bill folders. Floor amendments will be shown on the screen and on your iPads and not read unless requested. Bills will be laid over upon the motion of the Majority Leader, and the coat rule is relaxed. Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move to lay over House Bill 1248 till the end of the second reading calendar.
The House Bill 1248 on the motion of the Majority Leader will be laid over to the end of the calendar. Mr. Randall, please read the title of Senate Bill 125.
Senate Bill 125 by Senators Gardner and Kagan, also Representative Lee, concerning fiduciary responsibilities of title insurance entities to protect funds held in conjunction with real estate closing settlement services.
Representative Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move Senate Bill 125. I believe there is no committee report.
To the bill.
Thank you. Colleagues, this is a consumer protection bill which came out of the House Rules Committee. The insurance commissioner, in an attempt to protect transactions in title companies and real estate closings, issued rules. The Legislative Services Committee decided that those rules were beyond the scope of the authority, but that the rules were needed. So what this bill does is give the insurance commissioner the authority to put rules in place to protect consumer money in title companies. They hold it in a fiduciary capacity. I would ask for an aye vote.
Is there any further discussion of Senate Bill 125? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of Senate Bill 125. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Senate Bill 125 is adopted.
Mr. Randall, please read the title of Senate Bill 138.
Senate Bill 138 by Senators Gardner and Carl, Representatives Gray and Liston, concerning authorization for retail sales of alcohol beverages on-premise consumption to sell remaining inventory into other on-premise retail seller of alcohol beverages with whom there is common ownership but are no longer licensed to sell alcohol beverages for an on-premise consumption.
Representative Liston.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I move Senate Bill 138 and the House Business Affairs and Labor Committee report.
To the House Business Affairs Committee report, Representative Gray.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would move Amendment L003 to the committee report and ask that it be displayed.
That amendment L003 has been properly moved and is displayed. Representative Gray.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This was brought to us by the drafter in our amendment in the Business Affairs and Labor Committee. We accidentally erased one extra line, and so we were looking to put it back in.
Major amendment.
Is there any further discussion on Amendment L003 to the Business Committee report? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of L003. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. L003 is passed. To the committee report, Representative Gray.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In the Business Affairs and Labor Committee, we cleaned up the policy of this bill that Representative Liston will talk about a little bit more to make sure that it applied in a few extra situations where a restaurant or a tavern could lose their premises and need to be able to transfer their liquor provisions. We just added a few extra things and put a couple extra guardrails on. I'd ask for an aye vote.
Is there any further discussion on the Business Committee report? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of the Business Committee report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The Business Committee report is passed. To the bill, Representative Liston.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members, simply put, Senate Bill 138 would give the restaurant or bar an opportunity to sell any remaining alcohol to another restaurant or bar when a common ownership exists. In order for this to occur, however, the restaurant must first be on-premise license holder, have surrendered or had their license revoked in the last 60 days, other things like that. And they must retain evidence of the purchase in the form of a receipt for all alcohol sold into the other locations. This bill had unanimous support out of the Business Affairs and Labor Committee. I would ask for an aye vote. Thank you very much.
Is there any further discussion on Senate Bill 138? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of Senate Bill 138. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. Senate Bill 138 is passed.
Mr. Randall, please read the title of House Bill 1207.
House Bill 1207, Representatives Kennedy and Rankin, House Senators Moreno and Smallwood, concerning hospital transparency measures required to analyze the efficacy of hospital delivery system reform and incentive payments.
Representative Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move House Bill 1207. There is no committee report.
To the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members, we have a lot of different data sources out there that we look at when we're trying to understand the finances in our healthcare system. But none of these help us solve one of the fundamental questions we have, which is, after all the dollars we've invested through Medicaid expansion, through provider fee, why are we still seeing more costs shifted onto the patients with private health insurance? This bill will help put that data together so that we can craft the payments we make out of state dollars to more effectively target the behaviors we want to see to incentivize quality as opposed to just paying fee for service. I ask for an aye vote.
Representative Rankin.
Thank you, members. I ask for an aye vote. This is data that we need so that we can have insight into these costs that are occurring in hospital provider fee. As my colleague just said, that was supposed to help fix some of these problems. With 267, we have given ourselves more insight. Now this bill allows us to actually collect the data that the department says they need. They will be working with the Hospital Association to get the right data so that we can get the insight to take some approach to solving these big problems that are crippling our folks who are using health care.
Representative Beckman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I do have some questions for the sponsor that came up in the hearing, and so right now I'm not opposing or supporting the bill, but I think there is some clarifications that need to be made. During the debate last year for 267, we made a decision as a body to eliminate any type of oversight of the hospital provider fee. We created an enterprise, and we really did wipe clean the authority of the Joint Budget Committee and also the House of Representatives. And I'm just wondering how we are going to, what are we going to do with this data if we have absolutely no authority of them? Are we collecting data for the sake of collecting data?
Representative Rankin.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So that's a really good question, Representative Beckman. Last year we did, in fact, 267 did what's called continuously appropriating the funds so that the commission could just spend the money without any oversight by us, the legislature. We're reversing that now. There's a JBC bill, I believe, which will give us yearly appropriation over that money. So now we need to have insight into how it's being spent. That's what this data will do. So the department, working with the Hospital Association, will gather the data and then present to us some alternatives, perhaps some solutions, we hope, but we have to have the data to find out. So what this is all about is, in fact, exercising that control that in the bill last year we probably overlooked the necessity to actually use this hospital provider fee to correct some of the historical problems.
Representative Leonard.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. A very similar question that I had for the sponsor is on that data. If this is already publicly available data, do we need legislation to be able to assimilate that data? Can't the department already gather this data and issue the same kind of report?
Representative Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Representative Leonard, for that question. That's something that's come up commonly, and I actually really do want to applaud the Hospital Association for a report they put out last year on the financial health of Colorado's hospitals. There's a lot of good information in there. I think they've been good partners with the state on trying to give us information so that we can craft the way we spend these public dollars. But there's one critical thing really missing from that, and that's when we're looking at this cost shift data, how much more than the actual cost we're paying in the various different divisions. we don't have that by individual hospital or even by region. We only have a statewide number. And so we know that the privately insured are paying 64% more than the actual cost of their care in Colorado, but we have no idea how that breaks down from hospital to hospital. That's the single most important thing we would get out of this bill. I appreciate the question.
Representative Beckman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I'm back here again with another additional question for the sponsors. I was pretty skeptical of the fiscal note for this bill, actually having a zero fiscal note with the hospitals responsible for providing a tremendous amount of data. And I'm just wondering what is actually happening in the JBC process. It is important for these fiscal notes to be transparent and reflect the actual cost of what we're doing. I do appreciate and will be supportive of any legislation coming from the JBC that has oversight of the hospital provider fee. I think it was a huge lapse in 267 that we gave over about $1 billion of taxpayers' money without any additional oversight, so I do appreciate that. But I think this fiscal note is wanting of more explanation. I do not believe it reflects what the true cost is.
Representative Rankin.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And another good question. So the department currently has people in place who are doing analysis of data. What they're asking for here is better data than what they have, working with the Hospital Association to generate a full set of data that allows them to do that analysis. What they said in response to this question is the people are in place to do the analysis. Now, in parallel, sort of not related, in the long bill figure setting process, the department asked for 11 new people. At the moment, staff recommendation, JBC, is 6.5 people. That is to do related functions. In other words, to oversee the hospital provider fee, to make recommendations on incentive payments, other payments that might support the problems that you've heard us talk about. So it's my feeling, our feeling on the JBC side, that they are adequately staffed to do the job that we ask for. And it is a bit of an aberration. It would look like this should have a fiscal note, but that's the way they explained it, and we've had intensive discussions with the department. We believe the right people will be in place.
Representative Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I only have one brief thing to add to what Representative Rankin said. I've been thinking of this as if we've assigned the Department of Healthcare Policy and Financing to put together a puzzle. And we've already given them the staff to put together this puzzle, but we haven't given them all of the pieces of the puzzle. What this bill does is essentially gives them all of the puzzle pieces so that with their existing staff, they can complete the work we've already assigned them to do. And I do ask for your support.
Is there any further discussion of House Bill 1207? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of House Bill 1207. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. House Bill 1207 is adopted. Mr. Randall, please read the title of House Bill 1089.
House Bill 1089, Representative Benavides, concerning reform of pretrial criminal procedures in connection therewith prohibiting use of monetary bonding except for certain defendants, requiring courts to conduct timely hearings to reconsider monetary conditions for bond under certain circumstances.
Representative Benavides.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move the committee report to House Bill 1089.
You have to move the bill and the committee
And the bill and the committee report.
To the committee report.
The committee report has a series of technical changes, but it effectively is a good bill, so I'd urge support.
Any further discussion on the committee report? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of the committee report on House Bill 1089 from the Judiciary Committee. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The committee report is adopted. To the bill.
I move House Bill 1089 and urge a aye vote.
Is there any further discussion on House Bill 1089? Seeing no further discussion, the question before us is the adoption of House Bill 1089. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. House Bill 1089 is adopted. Mr. Randall, please read the title of Senate Bill 111.
Senate Bill 111 by Senator Teed, House Representative Martin, concerning the removal of an obsolete date in the law that designates state legal holidays.
Representative Arndt.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move Senate Bill 111.
To the bill.
Thank you. This is an SRC bill, and it just changes the date because the date was set in statute 40 years ago, and it's no longer applicable or relevant. I urge an aye vote.
Is there any further discussion on Senate Bill 111? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of Senate Bill 111. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Senate Bill 111 is narrowly adopted. Mr. Randall, please read the title of Senate Bill 121.
Senate Bill 121 by Senator Tate, House of Representatives Martin, concerning certain expenses allowed to a state employee when the employee is required to change his or replace residence in connection with the change in job duties.
Representative Arndt.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is another SRC bill, and basically what this has to do with is truing up state statute to meet the federal regulations, and I urge an aye vote.
Would you like to move the bill?
You know, I will. I'll move Senate Bill 121.
Is there any further discussion on Senate Bill 121? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of Senate Bill 121. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Senate Bill 121 is adopted. Mr. Randall, please read the title of Senate Bill 73.
Senate Bill 73 by Senator Smallwood, House of Representatives Ransom and Herod, concerning reporting the Department of Revenue when ownership of motor vehicle has been transferred.
Representative Ransom.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move Senate Bill 73. There is no committee report.
To the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Senate Bill 73 allows people, when they sell a vehicle, to register the sale with the DMV. We have had issues in the state with sellers that sell the vehicle and the buyer does not ever get around to registering the sale. And we were having problems with people getting parking tickets, tolls on E470, and also in car accidents where maybe there was a hit and run and the buyer had never registered the sale. And so this way the seller can go in and register the sale on his own if they choose to. So with that, I urge an aye vote.
Representative Herod.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This bill basically, to keep it short, what it does is it takes the wrongful responsibility out of the former owner of the vehicle and puts it rightfully in the hands of the current owner of the vehicle, and I ask for an aye vote. And I want to say that I appreciate my co-prime here, Representative Ransom, and all of her work on this bill to address a real issue facing Coloradans, and I ask for an aye vote.
Representative Ransom.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So it was unanimous out of our Transportation Committee, and the Senate voted unanimously as well.
Is there any further discussion on Senate Bill 73? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of Senate Bill 73. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Senate Bill 73 is adopted.
Yay. Good job.
Mr. Randall, please read the title of Senate Bill 102.
Senate Bill 102 by Senators Tate and Zenzinger, House of Representatives Hooten and Thurlow, concerning the requirement for an odometer reading when a motor vehicle's identification number is physically verified.
Does anyone know the location of Representatives Hooten or Thurlow? I would accept Hooten. I would accept Thurlow. Anyone? Anyone in the lobby who can hear me who's talking to Representative Hooten or Thurlow? Now would be a wonderful time for them to join us. In the meantime, I don't really have much to say. I don't have Hooten or Thurlow.
Is she? Okay. I move to lay over Senate Bill 102, one bill.
At the request of Majority Leader, Senate Bill 102 will be laid over one bill. Madam Majority Leader.
I move to stand in a brief recess.
The committee will stand in recess.
just hold on.
The committee will return to order in glory. Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move to lay over House Bill 1248 one day.
At the request of Majority Leader, House Bill 1248 will be laid over until tomorrow. Mr. Randall, please read the title of Senate Bill 102.
Senate Bill 102 by Senators Tate and Zenzinger, also Representative Hooten and Thurlow, concerning the requirement for an odometer reading when a motor vehicle's identification number is physically verified.
Go ahead. Welcome, Representatives Thurlow and Hooten. Representative Thurlow.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, members. Senate Bill 18102 is a very simple bill. It's statutory revision committee bill. Corrects a very simple problem that the county clerks brought to us, where they have the odometer reading on one form already, and we have another form where they're forced to go out and get another odometer reading on the same car. So passed unanimously out of committee. It's supported by the County Clerks Association, and I would ask for an aye vote.
Great. Representative Thurlow.
And Mr. Chair, did I move the bill? I move Senate Bill 18102 and ask for your support.
All right. Is there any further discussion on Senate Bill 102? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of Senate Bill 102. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. Senate Bill 102 is adopted. Does any majority leadership like to make a motion?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move that we rise and report.
Seeing no objection, the committee will rise and report.
The House will come to order. Mr. Randall, please read the report of the Committee of the Whole.
Madam Speaker, the Committee of the Whole because they reported as consideration following attached bills being the second reading of the mixed following recommendations are on House Bill 1089 and House Bill 1207 passed second reading order gross pays counted for third reading and final passage. Senate Bill 73, Senate Bill 102, Senate Bill 111, Senate Bill 121, Senate Bill 125, Senate Bill 138 is amended passed second reading order revised place counted third reading and final passage. House Bill 1248 laid over until March 14, 2018 retains its place on the calendar.
Representative Gray. All right, members, you have heard the motion. There are no amendments at the desk. Mr. Randall, please open the machine, and members, please proceed to vote on the report of the Committee of the Whole.
Actually, no. Okay, let's find out. Kelly said she was good to go, so.
Yeah, let's find out what they're doing with it. It's just an adoption of the conference committee report. Okay. Representative Bridges, Representative Kennedy, Representative Pedersen, Representative Rankin, Representative Rosenthal. Please vote. Representative Pedersen and Representative Rankin. Representative Pedersen is here. That will be $2. Representative Rankin, anybody know where he's at? Please excuse Representative Rankin, and please, can somebody let him know that will be $2 as well? The minority leader says it's $5 now. Representative Rankin, that will be $5. Will you unexcuse him and allow him to vote? I said $2, and it was the minority leader who said $5. All right, please close the machine. With 64 yes votes, 0 no votes, and 1 vacancy, the report of the committee of the whole is adopted. All right, that takes us to consideration of conference committee report. Mr. Randall, please read the title of House Bill 1171.
House Bill 1171, Representative Hammer, Senator Lumber, concerning adjustments in the amount of total program funding for public schools for the 2017-18 budget year and in connection with making and reducing an appropriation.
Representative Hamner.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Colleagues, I move the first report of the first conference committee for House Bill 1171.
All right, properly moved. Would you like to tell us why?
Yes, thank you, Madam Speaker. And members, this is the conference committee that met regarding the school finance supplemental, House Bill 1171. And the difference between the House and Senate version ended up being around $7 million. We couldn't reach agreement about whether or not to put that $7 million in the school finance formula this year. but what the conference committee did reach agreement on was setting aside $7 million for bills that will come through regarding increasing school safety. So I ask for your support of the conference committee report.
All right, is there further discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Randall, please open the machine, and members, please proceed to vote on the motion. Representative Beckman, Representative Hooton, Landgraf, Lee, Everett, Pedersen, Pabon, Lundin. Please vote. Where did... Please close the machine. With 64 yes votes, 0 no votes, 1 vacancy, that motion is adopted. Madam Majority Leader Becker.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move for the repassage of House Bill 1171.
The question before us is the repassage of House Bill 1171 as amended. Mr. Randall, please open the machine, and members, please proceed to vote. Please close the machine. With 56 yes votes, 8 no votes, 1 vacancy, House Bill 1171 is repassed as amended. Co-sponsors. Co-sponsors. Please close the machine. All right, that takes us to announcements and introductions. Representative Wilson and Representative Arndt.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. 2 announcements. First of all, just personally, thank you to the members of the JBC from our House. I know we jerk you through the knotholes a lot on things, but I really appreciate your going back to the drawing board and making 1171 a whole lot better. So, Representative Rankin, thank you for your work. Second announcement. On your desk, you should still have the hot dog announcement. That will be Thursday downstairs.
Listen up.
We would love to see you there. I have 240 hot dogs, so please come.
All right, further announcements or introductions. Representative Janal.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Health Insurance and Environment will meet this morning in room 107. We are going to hear 2 bills in this order: Senate Bill 131 and Senate Bill 82. See you in 10 minutes. Thank you.
Representative Harrod.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Prison Population Working Group will meet tomorrow at noon in room 109. All members are welcome to attend, not just those who are appointed to the working group. We'll be discussing, in 350. We'll be meeting upstairs in Senate room 354. All members are welcome to attend.
All right, Assistant Minority Leader West.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members, we all talked about how this is an important issue to us. Representative Wilson attended with us last week. Thank you, Representative Wilson. These are important issues. This will be a significant line item in our budget that we'll be considering next month. We'll have a presentation tomorrow from the JBC analyst about how these projections are used to formulate budget numbers. So connecting the dots, this I think will be a very important and I think an educational discussion tomorrow. So please join us.
All right, further announcements or introductions? Representative Pedersen.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members, as you know, we had the opioid interim committee. We worked all summer and fall and came up with a package of bills, and 3 of them are being heard today in room 271 at 1:30. If you're interested in joining to learn more about these bills, we'd love to have you. We are also doing a press conference at 1 o'clock if you would like to come and stand with us. This does not just affect the people who are assigned to this committee. This affects all of our communities. We'd love to have you there in the West Foyer.
All right, Representative Landgraf. I'm sorry. This is what happens when I am multitasking. Representative Carver.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I will be gone Friday morning, and this absence has been approved by the Minority Leader and Majority Leader.
Representative Carver, you are excused. Further announcements or introductions? Representative Crafthorpe.
Thank you. Business Affairs and Labor Committee will be hearing 2 bills today, Senate Bill 173 and House Bill 1184. Thank you.
Further announcements or introductions? Representative Jackson.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I will be excused tomorrow morning, and it's been approved by the Majority Leader.
All right. Further announcements or introductions? Representative Singer.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Public Health Care and Human Services Committee, in addition to 3 wonderful opioid interim committee bills, we will also be hearing for action only House Bills 1177 and 1104. Looking forward to seeing all of you at 1:30, room 271. Room 271.
Representative Pabon.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members of the House Finance Committee, this one's for you. Tomorrow we have committee upon adjournment, and there will be 1 additional bill added, House Bill 1217. House Bill 1217 will be added to the House Finance Committee hearing. So please note that for the record. I'll repeat it tomorrow morning as well for those of you who aren't listening. Let's just see who is listening. Raise your hand if you're on the House Finance Committee. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, yeah, I see. Yeah, see. There's people raising their hand that aren't on the House Finance Committee. So those of you who are, House Bill 1217 will be on our agenda tomorrow. Thank you.
All right, further discussion, any announcements, introductions? Seeing none, Madam Majority Leader Becker.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move that the House stand in recess till 1 o'clock today.
All right, seeing no objection, the House will stand in recess until 1 p.m. today.